Computer. All right. Hopefully we are there. Hi, Instagram. I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. We have some technical issues that keep going on with Facebook, and I don't know what happened. And hello, Facebook. I hope you can see me in the background there. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see any of your comments on Facebook unless I go um, onto my app and watch from onto my iPad and watch from here. So let me just do that for a moment. Turn down the volume. There's no volume. Okay, sorry. I love the glitches. It's very challenging. So, all right, let's start again. I can see you, Karen. I think you were joined in on Facebook. I think that was you previously, and something went wrong. My whole thing just told me it crashed, and then apparently it was all recording in the background. Okay, so welcome back, guys. Sorry about that. Let's just dive in. So, what I'm here. Oh, first of all, for those of you who don't know me, I am Karen. I'm the Plant Power Coach. I'm seeing you on Instagram over here. Yeah, it was you. I thought it was you. And Facebook over here. I am a plant-based, whole food plant-based weight loss coach, health coach, life coach as well. And I have a signature weight loss program called Plant Power Transformation. It's a 6 month, not just weight loss transformation, but kind of like a mental loss transformation. People come through feeling quite transformed at the end of working through this program with me, and it's about losing the mental weight as well as the physical weight, because usually it's the mental weight that's driving us to put weight on to our bodies. A lot of us know what we should be doing to lose our weight, but we can't work out why we can't do it. And a lot of times it has to do with what's going on internally for us. So that's the nature of my signature weight loss coaching program. So that's a little bit about me. Now I want to know about you. Where are you coming from? Whereabouts in the world are you calling in from here? Let me know in the comments. I want to see who's here. And I don't even know how to get to my other profile. So sorry, Facebook, I won't be able to see your comments. I'm just going to have to check them later. I don't even know how to get to my business profile on my iPad. It's all very different. It's not even whatever. Oh, hang on. The profile settings. I don't know. It all looks so different on the phone. I don't know if anyone can help me with it. Let me know in the comments. trying to work out my iPad, which I don't use very often for socials. Anyway, hello, Sandy. Yes, hi. Good to see you joining us on Insta too. And I know Karen's calling in from Adelaide. Good to see you. Gosh, I wish I could see what was going. Oh, I know what I can do. I can actually open up the Facebook tab in the background on my laptop. That way I can see who is watching and who is commenting, and hopefully that won't crash on me this time, because we have to stream from Zoom, because I always have issues when I try to go live straight onto my business page. It doesn't seem to work. So anyway, so what are we here to talk about today? You might have seen me posting on socials recently that I joined a program called Buns and Guns with the Sculpted Vegan. And the Sculpted Vegan is a very jacked bodybuilding legend. She's an awesome woman. Kim Constable has a mouth like a sailor, and I love her for it. She has the world's largest vegan bodybuilding company, and she coaches a lot of people around the world with various different programs. And she started at the beginning of the year. She started the 8 week Buns and Guns program. And the reason I decided that I wanted to join this program, there was a couple of reasons. Well, you might say, why as a weight loss coach do I want to join a program, when I have my own strategies? Well, it's less about not knowing what to do. And this is the same with everyone. Like I just said before, a lot of the times we know what to do. It's not just that we are not doing it. A lot of the times it's having support and having accountability and having someone to guide you through a process that you're not currently doing at the moment. And so, even coaches need coaches. We all need that little bit of stretch and that little bit of accountability in our lives if we want to achieve something new, because it's very, very easy for us to get into our comfort zone. And yeah, like coaches need coaches. Yeah, we all need that bit of stretch to get ourselves and to get ourselves to that next level of where we want to be. And so that's how I like to see it. And that's why I joined her program. So, I know that my program is great. I know that what I do helps a lot of people, but my program for my program's not necessarily for me anymore. My program is for me 20 years ago, the person who's really stuck and dealing with a lot of emotional issues that are preventing them from really taking the action that they want to take. This program was more about getting me back into a rhythm of going to the gym. For one, I've been a gym bunny for many years, like since my 30s, when I got out of my head and I stopped saying I can't and I started saying I can, and then I suddenly became the fittest I've ever been. So, but since COVID closed down our gyms. And I found myself getting into a very comfortable routine of going for daily walks, which I loved. Now, prior to that, I always thought that walking was a bit of a have, and not a bit of a have, but I like downplayed it. For me, if it wasn't like go 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 go, then it wasn't for me. But I injured myself a lot doing that, and I was actually injured at the start of COVID. Um, so I decided that walking was what I was going to do to keep myself from ballooning out over the COVID period while we were all locked down. But what happened is I got I fell very, very in love with walking, and then I had all of this resistance about going back into the gym. And I know I love the gym. I know I should be going to the gym, particularly as I get older, and uh, and I know that it's going to be very good for my bones and my muscles, and it's going to be great to keep in shape. But I just had this mental resistance to going back in, and I was struggling to get myself back into a good routine. So I really wanted to use this program as a way to kick my butt back into getting back to the gym. So and also not just that, not just getting myself back into a routine and building up my strength again, because I had lost a lot of strength over those 2-3 years where I wasn't going to the gym so much. So I wanted to get my strength back. Two, next week I go on a vegan Caribbean cruise, which is going to be amazing. There's going to be 45 different amazing presenters and experts in the plant-based space, like Dr. Michael Greger, Juliana Heather, and who else? Robert Cheek, if you've heard, these are all great people. Dean and Aisha Sherzai. So there's about 45 amazing vegan and plant-based experts who are going to be presenting on that boat. And so I wanted to like, this is a goal for me. I just wanted to be like, just trim down a bit and feel like I was in great shape getting onto that boat. And then I think the biggest reason for me as well is that I am approaching my 50th birthday. I recently turned 49 at the end of last year. And so, I know that, changes are happening within my body. I've not, I am inside the whole menopausal change experience at the moment. I've not had a cycle since about late October, I think, last year. And so I know that my body is going to start changing soon. And I wanted to see what I was capable of in my 50th year. I wanted to challenge myself to stay in shape. I wanted to challenge myself to get stronger, to build muscle, to do all the things that women are often told is impossible. Now, I don't want to get jacked. I don't want to look like Kim Constable. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder necessarily. I just want to look slightly muscular. I know I've got fairly skinny arms. I don't want big arms, but I do want to be able to see some muscle, and I want to feel lean, and I want to feel like I'm in shape. And for me, it's not about what, once upon a time it was all about what I look like and did people like what I look like. It's not about that necessarily anymore. I want to be a picture. I want to be a really good example of plant-based eating, because my desire is to turn everybody whole food plant-based. It's good for our bodies, it's good for the planet, it's definitely good for the animals. It's my mission, so I feel like I want to be a good role model in that space, so that other people can see what is possible for them, no matter what their age. All right, so and just on that 50 thing as well, even though I know I'm in that change, I haven't had, like, I've had the occasional hot flash, and I'm going to call it a warm flash. It's not even that hot. Occasional burst of heat. It's not that often. It's not that great. I've not had any mood swings. I've not had any. I know I haven't really had any of the other symptoms. Now I don't know at what point they start kicking in, but they haven't really for me yet. So I don't know if I'm just lucky or if this is a testament to plant-based eating. I know that I have coached a lot of ladies to their, to achieve their weight loss goals or their health goals, and I know that a lot of them have seen incredible drops in their menopausal symptoms when they have transitioned to a whole food plant-based diet. So I know that this has had incredible impacts for other people. So I'm expecting that it's going to have incredible results for me, or that I'm really curious to see what sort of symptoms I have. But anyway, the reason I'm getting back to this program and why I joined it is to help me start that this year, this build up to my 50th year, and what is truly going to be possible for me, and how can I be a role model for other people and show what is possible for them. All right, so if you if you are somebody also who is trying to shed a bit of body fat at the moment, I want to talk you through the specific strategies that I feel held me accountable. Yeah, I just see your comment there, Karen. You're 70 and 2 weeks, menopause is awful. You still get hot flashes. Okay, that's interesting. It would be interesting to see, the difference. That is really interesting. So I want us to look at this, not from a perspective. I'm not, I can't share with you exactly what the program is all about. You'd have to really get into her program. But if you are somebody who's looking to shed some body fat, I wanted to share what I thought were the key strategies that really helped me on this journey and stay accountable, and that really helped me get to where I ended up, which was at my goal weight. And it's less about the program and what weights I did and the exact food. It's more around the strategies and the things that you also can adopt in your journey to even get started, right? These are simple things that everybody can adopt that will help you take steps towards where you're going. And I just saw your comment there, Linda. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you joining. And sorry for anybody on Facebook who got a little bit lost there. The event crashed and kicked me out, so I just had to go live straight onto my page. I hope you guys are finding me okay. Okay, so a little bit about, I'm not going to tell you too much about buns and guns, but just to let you know, it is a very high protein program. It is a typical high protein vegan bodybuilding program, even though it is vegan. The program itself included our exercise program. It included nutrition program as well, and I decided though that I wanted to do this whole food plant-based because Kim's program does include a lot of protein powders, and I didn't want to do protein powders because, one, it's not a whole food. Two, I hear a lot of the plant-based experts talking about the dangers of a high protein diet, that we just don't need so much protein in our diet, even when we're trying to put on muscle mass. Now, is that true? I don't know. I'm not in the bodybuilding space, but like I said, I wasn't necessarily looking to get jacked. Okay, so and I also don't like the way protein powders make me feel. They don't feel good in my body. I feel like it's a bit of empty nutrition. It's just protein. There's nothing else. Like, you don't get all the vitamins and the minerals and all the antioxidants and all the stuff that comes with eating the whole food. And I know that I feel so much better when I'm eating the whole food. So I didn't want to do protein powders and really have that high protein level. I didn't want to do it with any supplements. She does, the supplements are not, not essential, not necessary. She does recommend a whole heap though, so that was going to be like a huge amount of extra expense. And I think if you're eating whole foods, you don't necessarily need the supplements as well. There were also a lot of faux meats in there, store bought faux meats. We did make a little bit of seitan. There was seitan in the menu as well. And I did try that out a couple of times because I was curious. I'd never made it before. And it was actually quite nice. I might make it again sometime. I'm not so worried about that. But I didn't want to be doing the bought faux meats. And the reason being is that they are full of crap, and they're high in fat, they're high in oils, and I just didn't want to do that. I know how my body used to feel eating faux meats because I used to do it all the time, and that's when I had digestive issues, skin issues, sinus issues, and I'm sure the faux meats were contributing to all of that sort of stuff. So I didn't want to send myself backwards in my health. I wanted to do this whole foods plant-based. But I just wanted to see essentially what I could achieve doing it a little bit of a different way. Like I said, I also didn't want to do a full-on shred. So I knew I wasn't going to get like super cut and super lean. One, I don't have the muscle for that. Not that jacked. And so I just wanted to trim down, and I wanted to trim away some of the little holiday excess over the Christmas period. Not that there was much, I stayed pretty much in shape, but I knew that I was sitting in a real comfortable weight zone of around, I think it was around 62-ish kilos. And I knew that I wanted to get myself down to around about 58. I've been working on this 58 type number for some time, but not really, not specifically. I wasn't specifically doing anything to get there because I was kind of comfortable in my body where I was. But I know that when I'm sitting around 58 kilos, that I feel really good in my body. I feel energized, I feel trim, clothes fit better. And so I wanted to get, that was my goal, really. End goal, I'm going to say. That was what I was aiming for in terms of, like body weight. And so that that didn't need to be a full on shred. That just needed to be me trimming down a little bit. So that's basically why I joined and what my goals were. Now, on this plan, we had 3 workouts that we were doing per day, essentially. Kind of, there was one weights that we were working out 6 days a week for the eight days. There was one weights session, and then there were 2 cardio sessions. The cardio session started out at half an hour, twice a day to start with, and then for each week that cardio session would increase by 5 minutes per session. So by the end of it, we were doing an hour twice a day. I kind of did it like that, but I was sort of working things in with my routine that I'll talk about. And with all the food was set at about 45% protein, which to me is very, very high, 30% carbs, which to me is very, very low, and about 25% fat, which is too high. I didn't want to be there. So where I usually eat-ish is about 70% carbohydrates, 15% protein, and about 15% fats. So that's where I wanted to approximately land with my macros. Not that I count macros, I just put things into my MyFitnessPal to check where I was, and that's kind of roughly in my head where I thought I was going to be, and that's roughly what came out as well with the foods. So that's sort of how I wanted to look at the program as well. Now, I'm going to talk about now the strategies, the key strategies, and I picked out that there were about 8 of them that I used that really helped me stay focused and on track. And so strategy number 1 was that I planned everything. Right, so this was going to be a significant amount more work than I had been doing. I knew that. And as with everything when we are going for a goal, usually it means we need to start doing something new. Um, Sometimes it means stopping doing something that is not helping, but oftentimes it means we need to be doing something new. And so um, I knew that these extra workouts were going to be taking up significantly more amount of my day than I had been used to. So I made sure that everything was planned. I love planning. If you haven't seen, I don't know, Instagram, you might want to go to my YouTube channel, Facey, in my Facebook group, or you can go to my YouTube channel. I've got a video on planning for success. If you want to see how I plan my world, you can go and watch that, or if you need some help with planning. But I planned everything out. I planned out my workout times. I had everything scheduled in my diary for the amount of time that it was going to take. These were flexible, but they were still a priority for me. So if I needed to move client sessions around, or I needed to move a number of other things around in my diary, those workout times were actually scheduled in there. So they would need to move like Tetris. I would need to move things around, shuffle things around. If those workout times were just like, I'll do it sometime. I know I've got to do it, and I was waiting for the end of the day to do it, and suddenly something else happens and takes all my attention, and then suddenly I don't have time for the workout, then I'm leaving things to chance and I'm not taking control of my calendar. So I wanted to make sure that my calendar was set up and planned for my success. And I also wanted to create a bit of a rhythm with it. So ideally, I was creating the same rhythm, not just every day, but every week for the 8 weeks. Um, once you do something in a rhythm, it starts to become a habit, and even though your brain might have resistance to doing it at first, because brains don't like doing new things. That's what they're designed to. They're designed to do what we know. Your brain will have resistance to doing something new to start with, and then over time, as you start to do that same rhythm again and again and again, it becomes familiar, and suddenly what I was finding is if I had to move a morning gym session to the evening, because that's when I prefer to do my gym workouts, my brain was going, no, no, these are all the wrong people. This is the wrong time of day. Where are all the people? So your brain gets used to that change after a little bit, right? And then that is what becomes familiar. That is what becomes comfortable. And that is how you adopt a new habit. So that's why I wanted to, that was me planning and making sure that it became a priority in my day. And then after doing it in a routine, my brain started to become familiar and there was no more resistance. I also made sure that I was planning everything around my food. So I made sure that I got into a rhythm with regards to planning what I was going to eat, because I followed some of Kim's recipes, but most of the time I was doing my own food, whole food, plant-based. So I needed to spend time, and so I needed to create time in my week to sit down and work out what I was going to eat, do all of that food prep. And I also I also planned in time on my Sunday to do all my food prep, so that I didn't have to think about food for the rest of the week. One, I didn't have to think about making it. If I was going to be spending all this time exercising, I didn't want to have to think about making my food. Sometimes I was doing my last cardio. I was doing my last cardio, which is just a walk, after my work hours. So that meant that sometimes I wasn't having dinner till about 7:30, which is quite late for me. I usually eat about 6. I'm usually hungry about 6, but because it was so late, what I didn't want to have happen was coming back from that exercise and then having to start thinking or making food. So I could just come back and it was there. I just needed to pull it out of the fridge and eat it and go. And that was a massive time saver and a massive mental energy saver during the week for me. So I had to make sure that I was prepping all of my food and that I was allowing time to be able to prep that food. And Sunday was my day, because then it didn't need to interrupt with anything else I was doing. Sunday was that kind of like our off day, no training, and there was a slightly different meal plan. For everyone else, I kind of like didn't really do that. So I made all of my meals for the week at once. The only things that I, didn't really do fully for the full week was some of my greens, because I found when I made the greens, and they were things like broccolini, zucchini, asparagus, salads and stuff like that. So I found that when I made those for the full week, by about Wednesday, Thursday, they were starting to get a bit manky. A bit slimy. So I decided midweek then to do another green cook or prep. So, but most of what I did, with regards to my starches and things, they were all done on the Sunday, and so that needed time to sit down and plan what I was going to eat. I put that in my calendar. Shopping for it, I put that in my calendar, and then the time to food prep, I put that in my calendar. And I didn't just put it in for the first week. I put it in as a recurring appointment in my calendar for every single week for those 8 weeks, and that became the rhythm. I knew what I was doing. It was in my diary. I just needed to follow the plan. Um, so the reason why I planned, as I mentioned before, is because I was doing something new. This wasn't yet a routine or a habit, certainly not in this way for me. And so I knew that I needed to have that reminder. I needed to not leave it to chance. I knew that if I didn't have things scheduled in my calendar, then I would likely forget what I was supposed to be doing. So I wanted to be really, really intentional about how I used my time on this program. And I wanted to make sure that it was all focused on, working towards my goal. I didn't want to be wasting time. I also didn't want to be telling myself that I didn't have the time. I just wanted to make sure that I was using my time effectively, and particularly around workouts. It'd be very easy for me to sit back because that's what I had been doing, right? When I was trying to get myself back to the gym. Oh, I just don't have time, Oh, I've got to get to clients. Oh, I don't have time to get to the gym this morning. I'll just go for a walk. Actually, that was just resistance. That was my brain just not wanting to do something new. So I knew that I had time because I had then scheduled it in my calendar. I couldn't use that excuse on myself anymore. Okay, so that was around planning. If you have any questions for me around planning, and like I said, hey Angela. Um, so if you've got any questions around planning, or like I said, if you want some help around planning, my YouTube video, Planning for Success, go look for it. You'll see a link on my bio to my YouTube channel for you guys in Instagram, and anyone in Facebook. If you're in my Facebook group, you'll see the Planning for Success training sitting at the top of the group, or you'll also find it under guides. Go and have a look there, or you can go to my YouTube channel as well, just the Plant Power Coach. What time do I wake up in the mornings? So my alarm goes off at 6 o'clock every morning. So I don't necessarily get up at 6. I tend to faff around on my phone a little bit. Because I'm in Australia, a lot of the people I speak to are in the US. I usually wake up to a lot of messages and things like that in the morning. So I spend a little bit of time just working on that first. But in terms of the gym time, I was getting myself off to the gym about 7:30 most mornings. I just walk there and back. I live very close to my gym, so I was able to do that. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so I'm going to move on to strategy number 2 that I use now, which is food. So as I said, I wanted to do this whole food plant-based rather than doing what I consider a high protein vegan way of eating it with lots of faux meats and protein powders. To me, her program was also too high in fat. So I wanted to, I was aiming for about 70% carbs, 10 protein, 10 fats, but honestly, that was really hard. And where it ended up landing was about 60 carbs, 15 protein, 15 fat. And I think for me, I think that was a really good move, because listening to a lot of the other ladies who were doing this program, certainly by the end of it, a lot of them were getting really significant brain fog, and they were really short on energy. And I didn't want to experience that. I need to focus for my clients. I need to focus for my business. I didn't want my brain to be sitting in brain fog. as I'm trying to coach people. That doesn't work. Does not work for me. I don't like having brain fog. I don't like not being able to think clearly. And so I wanted to make sure that one, I was high energy, that it stayed high energy, and two, that my brain stayed alert. And our brain needs carbohydrates. Our body for energy needs carbohydrates. Also, I didn't want it to be high fat because if I'm doing it high carb, then, well, high fat can just start to push the calorie content over too high. So, it can be very easy to store that body fat, store that fat as body fat too if it's not the right type of fat. So going into the program, the first week, oh my God, I don't know if you saw some of the pictures that I posted. There was a lot of tofu. I think I posted some stories. There was a lot of tofu. There were 450-gram blocks of tofu just to get through the first week of meal prep. And I did follow her plan fairly closely in the first week without the protein powders. And it was after that I decided, no, my body was like, no, I don't want that much tofu. I do not have a problem with tofu. I love tofu, don't get me wrong, but that much in a week, oh my God, it was too much. And I wanted some other starches in my world because I didn't need that high level of protein. And also tofu is quite high in fat. I think it's something like 30% fat. I could be wrong, but that to me just felt very high. And so I wanted to pull it back. I also decided I wanted to keep my green smoothies. I forgot to make one this morning. I was going to show you my green smoothie. So I wanted to continue making my green smoothie for breakfast, and I also wanted to keep having my oats for breakfast. Now, her plan had oats, many mornings for breakfast as well. So I just decided to make my own. And instead of having a protein shake, I had my green smoothie. So I kind of followed a little bit of the structure, but I did it myself. And then lunch and dinner. I followed some of her recipes where they were more whole foods, and that was great. There were some nice recipes there. There were some soups, there were some lentil dishes. There was a curry, not a curry, a chili. But mostly I went with making my own Buddha bowls. So how I structured my Buddha bowls is I would choose one whole food protein, one starch, whole food starch, and then that would form about half of my plate. And then I'd pile on a bunch of greens on the other side. So whether that was leafy greens or, like I said, the broccolini, the zucchini, I had green beans, I had asparagus. I would just pick up a bunch of random green stuff at the supermarket. Because our greens on this program, Kim said they were unlimited. In fact, she encouraged, if people were hungry, that green foods and cruciferous foods were free foods, basically. So you could have unlimited amounts of them, and because one, they were very high in nutrition, they're high in fiber, they're high in water, but they're also very low in calories. So for people following her nutrition plan, it wasn't going to really upset their macros so much. But it's also a really great way to fill your belly and feel satiated without upsetting your calorie count or going over your calories. This is why I promote lots of greens as well. You can really fill your belly on lots of greens, deliver your body high quality nutrition, and be low in calories. Now, we still do need our starches, because without our starches, those greens don't last us for long and we get hungry again very, very quickly. We have to eat a huge amount of those greens. But what did I make? So I think I talk about, yeah. So what I also didn't want to do, like I wanted to stay away from, I wanted to focus on what I call my green light food. So for any of you who've got my either my whole food plant-based guide or my weight loss guide, you'll see I talk about the traffic lights of food, just like the Forks Over Knives team do as well. So we've got our green light foods, which are our whole plant foods. Then we've got orange light foods, or green light foods we can eat in abundance. They are low in calorie density. They're very high in nutrition. And then we've got our orange light foods, which are, they're healthy foods, but they're higher in calories. Either they're high naturally in plant fats, or they're minimally processed in a way that strips out some of the water content, so the calories go up. So I wanted to reduce my orange light foods significantly. So I didn't want to be doing any pastas. I didn't want to be doing any bread. And with regards to tofu, I didn't want to do it too much. So where her program was quite high in tofu, I really wanted to strip that back. Um, Also nuts, seeds, avocados, they all sit under the orange light. Now, I did use some dressings on my Buddha bowls that were, well, I had my satay dressing and I had my tahini dressing. And at one point, I also made an avocado dressing as well. Now, these recipes, not the avocado dressing, but the satay and the tahini, they are in my recipe ebook, which again is on my profile or in my group. So you can download those as well. But what I did is I really thinned them out. So I knew that they were orange light foods and that they were going to contribute to a higher fat content and, potentially throw over calories. So I wanted to use them sparingly. So I really, really watered those dressings down so that the fat content and the calorie content was really reduced. And so that's how I managed to do that. But it still added just that deliciousness of a little bit of creaminess and that zing of flavor on my Buddha bowls, and that's what made them really, really tasty. So a couple of the ideas a couple of the the ways I structured my bowls is I had like a black bean mix. It was sort of like a bit of a Mexican mix with my Mexican spice blend and things like I think I had onion and garlic. I think I had some capsicum in there, maybe a squeeze of lime juice as well. That formed the protein part of one of my bowls. Then with that, I had some sweet potato, and I cubed my sweet potato and you can roast it. I put it in my air fryer and cook them that way, just with no oil. And then the rest of that plate was lots of just mixed greens. And then with that was the tahini dressing. That was delicious. Also, at one point, I used the avocado dressing, which was a little bit like, say, a guacamole. It was I used what I used avocado, lime juice. I used a little bit of maple to take the edge off the lime juice, and then a lot of water to water that down. So just whiz that up in a blender, and it was delicious. So I also used a little bit of avocado dressing on that one. Another one was a spicy chickpea. So I coated some chickpeas in a few different spices and roasted those in the air fryer. And I had that with quinoa. And again, quinoa was my starch, and then I had a bunch of greens as well, and I had that. I think that was with the tahini dressing as well. And then the satay one, I had I air fried some tofu. So this is where I did have tofu in a bowl. Air fried some tofu, and I had that I think with brown rice. It was either brown rice or quinoa, and then a bunch of greens, and then I had the satay dressing with that. And okay, I've seen your question there. What are the components of the tahini dressing, please? If you go to my profile after this live, you'll find the recipe in my recipe ebook, which is in the link in my bio. So it's tahini, it's water, it's lemon juice, and it's a little bit of maple. But what I did is I put in a lot more water. And what happens with some of these dressings is the first time you make it, it might seem really runny, which is nice. And then you put it in the fridge, and the next time you go to use it, it's all thickened up again. So I was taking the opportunity at that point to water it down even more. And every time I watered it down, obviously that reduced the whole calorie content and the fat content as well. So if you want to reduce the fat content of yours as well, highly recommend doing that. But yeah, go to the recipe ebook in my profile, and you'll see the dressing in there. Also, the satay sauce is in there too. That's a very delicious one. It's really limey. It's got a real lime kick to it. I love that one. Okay, so that's sort of how I structured most of my lunches and dinners. And I would have, yes, I would be making the same lunch for the whole 6 days. I would be making the same dinner for the whole 6 days, and I'd have the same breakfast for the whole 6 days. In fact, I probably had the same. I've been having that breakfast for more than just 6 days in a week. That is my stock standard breakfast. My overnight oats recipe and my green smoothie, both also in my recipe ebook. If you're wanting to grab that. They are my stock standard staples. I love those. And you know, was I going to get bored with eating the same lunch and dinner? Not that I had them for the full 8 weeks, but I had rotations. I did mix it up, but eating the same lunch and the same dinner for 6 days in a row, I'm not used to that. So uh, I knew that my brain was probably going to put up a little bit of resistance to doing that. And yeah, I did. I got a little bit bored by eating the same thing every single day for a week. I knew that that was likely to happen though, and I decided just to not make it a problem. I decided that having the same food was not going to, um, the food was not there to entertain my brain. It was there to nourish my body and help me get to a result. Um, so I knew that my brain was going to put up some resistance, particularly as it's something that I hadn't done in the past. So I decided not to make that a problem. I just decided to allow the brain to put up its little complaints and say, yep, I hear you. As particularly with one of my bowls, it was, I think it was the spicy chickpea and the quinoa. And by the end of the week, it felt like I was eating cardboard. At the beginning of the week, it was fine. But by the end of the week, my brain was like going, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm like, but you will, but you will, but you will. And sometimes we just got to do that because that's what brains do. They put up resistance to change. But I knew that this was going to be necessary for me to do, because if I was to not eat that food, then what was the alternative? I was likely going to reach for something that wasn't going to get me to, where I wanted to be, and likely going to be, me calling Uber Eats and going, oh, can you deliver? Which I didn't want to do, right? We're all prone to that. It's okay. Okay, so that was how I structured a lot of my food, and I think in my Facebook group I've put up some pictures. I've got some like Buddha bowl type suggestions as well in my recipe ebook. I think I've got the spicy chickpea. I've got certainly got the a version of the tofu, the satay tofu, and I've got the Mexican bean recipe in there that you can also turn into a bowl. So lots of those ideas are in my recipe ebook too. So if you don't have it, make sure you do get it for some ideas. Okay, but let's move on with some other strategies. Strategy number 3, and I say this for everyone: water, 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 water. I was drinking, aiming for 3 liters of water per day. 2 liters, I always say, is the minimum, but I was doing a lot more exercise and I really wanted to get up to my 3 liters a day. I didn't beat myself up if I didn't get there every single time, but I was aiming for those 3 liters every single day. Water is critical for every single cellular function in our body. We need it, and our body will reserve water for the most critical functions in our body to keep us alive if we're not giving ourselves enough. The great thing about eating lots of green foods, lots of whole plant foods, is that they are also packed with water, which is great for us. But I was doing a lot more exercise, so I wanted to make sure I was really giving myself enough. And I can feel when I'm dehydrated. I can really, well, when I'm not getting enough, I can feel my energy levels dip. So I wanted to make sure that I was on track and keeping up with my water. And how do I do that? I make sure I'm getting through three of these a day. That's almost the first one gone. I'm getting thirsty talking to you lot. So water, water, water. Your body will reserve water for the most critical functions in your body to keep you alive if you are not getting enough. And losing body fat, shedding body fat, is not one of them. All right, so you want to make sure, if you want to lose body fat, that this is an important part, just as an important part as the food that you put in your body. Strategy number 4, sleep. This is essential for weight loss anyway as well. It's essential for health overall, and in particular when doing this amount of exercise and trying to put on put on some strength, put on a little bit of muscle. I definitely think I can see my left bicep now. I don't know if you can see that, but I never used to be able to see that. Okay, so if you're wanting to put on some muscle, and if you are doing things like strength training, your body needs to go through that repair cycle at night. All of our bodies go through a detox and repair cycle at night. And so it's really critical that you get good quality sleep as well. So I made sure that I was prioritizing that I wasn't, staying up late. I wasn't sitting there watching Netflix too much. And that I was getting myself to bed with enough time to wake up in the morning feeling refreshed and wanting or having the energy to go to the gym. I didn't always want to go to the gym in the morning, let's just say. There was resistance, don't you worry. But I wanted to make sure I at least had the energy to go. Strategy number 5, I allowed imperfection. So while I had a plan and I knew what I was doing, I also decided that if I wasn't perfect, if I had a moment where I fell off or I chose not to go to the gym or was sick or injured or something like that, I decided that that was not going to be a massive problem. I was not going to beat myself up. So this is one of the things that I used to struggle with many years ago, 20 years ago. As soon as I would have a little whoopsie moment, eat something off plan or skip a workout or not do something perfectly, I would tell myself that, oh, look, I can't do it. See, I can't do it. I'm never going to get there. So I learned my lesson from that, and I learned that sort of mindset is bullshit. And so I was not going to do that to myself this time. I was just going to make this fun and enjoyable. If I started to put the pressure on myself to be perfect and do things exactly right, then I knew that was going to, as soon as I wasn't absolutely perfect, I was going to feel terrible. And I saw a lot of ladies in the group with that mindset, and I felt sad. I felt sad because I saw myself 20 years ago. And so I decided that's not what I was going to do. I was going to make this fun and enjoyable. And when I made it fun and enjoyable for myself, it made it more doable. When we are more likely to do the things that we find pleasure in. So let's find ways to make the things that will move us towards our goals fun and pleasurable as well. And that's what I wanted to do. So taking the pressure off myself to be perfect, that was not going to feel like fun. Allowing myself a little bit of imperfection, that was going to make it feel doable and make it feel more sustainable long term. And that is what I recommend for everybody on any journey, whether you're doing a short-term program, whether you're looking at a long-term lifestyle change. Make it like take the pressure off yourself to be perfect. Allow yourself some imperfection. Don't make it a problem, because when you make it a problem, you resist getting back on track. Right? If you allow yourself the imperfection, what happens is you don't have resistance to getting back on track. You just go, whoops. Everyone thinks that if they're imperfect, then they'll keep allowing themselves to be imperfect. You've still got to be able to keep your eye on the goal and see where you're going, right? You've still got to follow the roadmap, but you will have less resistance to getting back on track if you just allow some imperfection and keep on going, particularly if you're making lifestyle changes. This is a long-term journey, right? Nobody is expecting perfection from anyone, all right? Okay. So the next strategy number 6 is I kept records. I had ways to be able to measure some progress. So one, I had up on my, I've got a whiteboard up here, I can't show you. I've got a whiteboard up here, but what I did is I mapped out 7 days across the top and 8 weeks down the side. And so I marked off every single day where I followed my plan, got across. Every single day where I followed my plan mostly, I might have had, maybe I missed a walk, or might have missed, didn't quite do something. If it wasn't completely as per the plan, I got half a line or half across. And if I didn't, like, there were a couple of days where I was injured and sick. If I didn't follow my plan at all, I put a line that way through. And seeing all of these crosses like this, And that was really motivating. Seeing the days and the weeks counting down, it visually it kept me focused on what it was that I was working on, and how far we'd gotten through, and how far still yet to go. And seeing the crosses was motivating. Um, I seeing the very few half lines and very few crosses, horizontal crosses, was also very motivating, because it meant that most of the time, 90%, 95% of the time, I was on track, and that was great. It was oh, shivers. Oops. Phone, hang on, Instagram, phone's dying. Oops, there we go. Hopefully that stream is not interrupted. Okay, there we go, plugged in. So seeing that visually kept me focused on the full journey ahead of me. I also used scales. Now, I did track my weight, but I wasn't obsessed with it. I didn't expect massive drops, because I knew that I know that body fat doesn't drop very quickly. I did weigh myself most days of the week, because I wanted to see trends, and I was doing it with the mindset of, I know what I've eaten, I know what I've done, and I just want to see the impact on the scale. So I developed a good relationship with that scale. I didn't make the number on the scale mean anything about me. I just made it data. I made it mean it was data. It was a reflection of what had been happening, and were things was what I was doing helping me go in the direction that I wanted to go, or did I need to then sit back and revisit what it was I was doing, so that I would go towards my goal? And developing a really good relationship with that scale is essential if you want to be using a scale to measure your progress. It is just one way to measure progress, by the way, guys. I also took photos. I meant to take body measurements. I forgot. So, so that wasn't helpful. But anyway, I highly recommend taking body measurements as well. I also recommend feeling into your clothes. Now, I could feel the difference in my clothes. I could feel the difference in my body. I could feel the difference in things like my muscles. I could, like I say, I could see the difference in my left bicep. I could see the difference in my shoulders starting to happen. I could feel the difference in my quad muscles and my glutes and things like that. So I could feel the changes that were happening in my body, and I could feel the difference in my clothing as well. So you want to be using a multiple different ways to be able to measure your progress, and that you are going in the direction that you want to go. Clothes is a great way. And as I mentioned, I took photos. So we had to for this program. If we wanted to enter the competition, we had to take photos. So there were a number of different poses that we had to take. I'm not going to share those with you, because, I'm not yet comfortable showing my butt in public. Okay, sorry, I'll put it out there. We don't all have to be comfortable, and this is why I don't ask my clients to take body photos. They can do that for themselves if they want to, and I don't share them on socials. Because I know that can be confronting. It's confronting for me to be doing something like that, so I don't expect anybody else to want to do that as well. But to see my progress, I took photos every couple of weeks. So at week 1, and then at week 3, at week 5, week 7, and then I took them at the end as well. And I can see the progress in it. And I think even some of the photos don't, because of the lighting, you can't really see. I can see better detail. I can see better how my body has changed when I see it up close, and when I look in the mirror and things like that. So the photos for me don't really show the difference that I see with my eyes. Now, whether that's true or not, but if I feel like I've made changes, then that's motivating to me. So that strategy was all around keeping records, keeping data, and using that data to help you spot where you are winning, but also use it as a way to course correct if things are a little bit off. We don't want to make this data mean anything negative about ourselves and our ability. It's got nothing to do with that. All it is a reflection of the things that we are doing. So if you're not seeing results, then it just means that something is maybe slightly off, and you just need to tweak something. Don't make it mean anything about your ability to achieve the goal. Strategy number 7. This is really important too. I said yes when I wanted to say no, and I also said no when I wanted to say yes. All right. So when you make change in your life, yeah, you're going to have to do things a little bit differently. So this was around resistance, but also about staying focused. So for me, saying yes when I wanted to say no was all around like when my brain didn't want to go and do a workout, when I was tired at the end of the day and didn't want to do my last walk, when I was stuffed at the gym and didn't want to do that last exercise or that last set. I mean, I did that a few times, don't you worry, but but more often than not, I said yes when I wanted to say no. When I didn't want to eat that last meal at the end of the week because, oh, it's the same thing again, I said yes when I wanted to say no. And that's around building discipline. That's around building discipline with yourself that you will do what you say you're going to do and you follow through with your intentions because the goal and the outcome, what you want to achieve, is more important than your immediate desires, your immediate wants. Um, and then saying no when I wanted to say yes. This was around social events, catching up with friends. One dear friend of mine, Karina, she sends me all these events, and I even had a friend's birthday party. And, you know, there were things that I really wanted to be able to say yes to, and I ended up saying no to simply because I didn't want to be thrown off track with my goals. Now, does that mean that you need to say no if the change you're trying to make is a long-term lifestyle change? It may not be to things like social events or going out or things like that, but it might be saying no to eating types of foods. It might be saying no to, no, I don't want to drink today. Um, I'm changing my lifestyle. I'm moving away from eating these foods, from drinking these drinks. I'm saying no because it's important to me for the goals that I have in my life. So we need to learn on our journey forwards where we should be saying no when we do want to be saying yes. So again, that's about focusing on our long-term goals and our long-term pleasure and what we want out of our life rather than the immediate pleasure that we think we're going to get by saying yes. All right, so this is a very difficult one, and this is why a lot of people can't change. It's because they really want to go out, they really want to do all the things, they really want to eat all the foods, and they really want to drink all the drinks, when really that is not in alignment with their goals. So it is a it's a challenge. It is a challenge. It doesn't mean we always have to say no, but sometimes we do need to say no. Sometimes we do need to say no when it aligns with our goals, or when doing the thing would be out of alignment with our goals. And the last strategy I adopted was a positive mindset, more of a can do or a will do mindset. Um, hey, Mona, saw you on Facebook there. Yes, so easy to get off track. Yes. But if you have a positive mindset and you allow yourself um, some room for imperfection, you can get back on really, really easily. Okay, back to the strategy. Positive mindset. I had more of a can-do attitude rather than, or a will-do attitude, rather than an I can't or I don't want to. I think that was really important for me as well. A lot of the time when we're wanting to make change in our lives, our natural inclination is to say, I can't do that. I'm not that person. Who do I think I am? That's not me. But I think we need to really challenge ourselves and say, but that's who I want to be. If I want to be that person, then I'm going to say I can do it. I'm going to figure this out. I will do it. I'm going to do it, rather than, oh, I can't. So, adopting change in your life, or adopting that sort of mindset towards your goals, is going to be really, really important to help you get there. It's almost like you need to step into being the person you want to be before you become that person. I always talk about this with my clients, becoming that version of themselves inside in their minds before they physically become that person, is what usually gets them to that end goal. When we can start to adopt the identity, the persona of the person who's at their goal weight, they're going to be able to, they will follow through with the actions that end up taking them there, because they've got the right positive mindset, or they've got the mindset that will carry them there. All right, so they were the 8 key strategies that I pulled out as the things that really helped me create success on my journey, and that I felt were going to be relevant to help any of you who might be struggling with weight or on a weight loss journey, help you get to your goals as well. Because the things I did, like the actual, the workouts, the actual food, that sort of stuff, is not necessarily relevant to everybody else's journey. That was relevant to my journey. But these particular strategies, if you're looking to make change in your life and you're looking to achieve your weight loss goals, you can adopt these strategies no matter what type of, program or, no matter what type of program that you are using to get there. So let me just recap those. One was planning everything, making sure that you have a plan, and that you are planning absolutely everything to do with getting to your goal. So whether that's food planning, everything around your food, your food planning, your food shopping, your food prepping, whether that is planning in your time for your workouts. You don't have to do the 2 cardio a day and 1 weights a day like I did, but it's about making sure that you are planning that time in your diary and that you are making it a priority, because it is a priority for your goals. All right. We tend to sit back and go, I don't have time. I don't have time for that. But the fact is, we're just not prioritizing our time. We all have the same amount of time. It's just where we're using our time. And when we don't have a plan, we tend to waste our time. Right? We overestimate what we can achieve in a short amount of time, and we totally underestimate what we can achieve in a longer amount of time. So if this is important to you, make sure you create a plan and that you plan in what is important. Food. I stuck to whole food, plant-based, low fat. I ate the majority of my food being green, light foods. Again, if you want that full list, in my whole food plant-based guide, that is in either the link in my bio for you on Insta, or guide 1 for you guys in my Facebook group, even though I know I'm not streaming into my Facebook group. If you're not in my Facebook group, why not? Plant-based, and you too, plant-based weight loss support, come and join. Link in my bio for you on Insta. Everyone come join my group. So green light foods, whole plant foods. These are fruits, vegetables, whole grains and legumes. I ate primarily those foods, and I made sure that it was high carb, high starch. And if you want any of those recipes that I mentioned, grab my recipe ebook from my bio or from my group. Water, 3 liters, 2 to 3 liters you want to make sure you're getting, but our body needs water. 3 liters is often more ideal for weight loss. Sleep. Prioritizing your sleep and getting good quality sleep, 7 to 8 hours is necessary. Number 5 was allowing some imperfection, right? So that you are not putting yourself under so much pressure to be perfect. And when you can't be perfect, you go screw it and you spiral out of control, right? We don't want that either. Allow a bit of imperfection. If you fall off the wagon, if you miss a workout, if you miss a meal, don't worry about it. Just get back on the wagon. If you tighten that screw so tight that you've got to be perfect, guess what's going to happen? You're going to break the cart. You're going to fall off completely. You want to be a little bit looser with it. Believe it or not, this is what works. And, so that, when you go over a bump in the road, the cart just bounces up and down and you carry on. We don't want that cart falling apart. Strategy number 6, keep records, keep track of your progress. You want to be able to see yourself making progress, and you want to be able to use that data to keep you moving forward. Having a good mindset around that data, a good mindset around your measurements, a good mindset around your the scale or the numbers that you're seeing on the scale. Just using it as data instead of using it as an excuse to beat yourself up. Learn to say, number 7 was learn to say yes to your goals and no to things that don't align to your goals. All right, that is something that's a massive reason why so many people don't achieve success, is they're saying no to the things that they want to do now that don't align with their goals. Learn to say yes to your goals and no to the things that don't align. And strategy number 8, being that positive mindset, the can-do attitude. I will do, I'm going to do it. That is what is going to take you to the finish line. All right, so I hope that was helpful to you. Please just drop any questions that you, if you have any questions for me, now's the time. Um, and for any of you who might be wanting a little bit of extra help and support, I am looking to create not a similar type program, but a like an 8 week um, kind of type of type of program, an 8 week program of my own, being whole food plant based, based around whole food plant based meals, looking at giving you the full meal plans. Um, Workbooks, ways to be able to track and measure your progress, possibly a workout schedule as well, giving you some options there with regards to workout schedules and movement schedules to help you move towards your goals. Maybe some prizes as well, depends. All right, so I am looking to see who would be interested in such a program. I mean, obviously, I would base it around what I think helped me get to the goal. Um, and I want to be able to help everybody else, particularly anybody who's really struggling with starting their weight loss, or anybody who's really struggling to get maybe the last 10 pounds off. I'm looking at maybe, you know, if I got to 9 pounds and I didn't have that much to lose, what can other people do? So I would love to get your feedback on whether you would be interested in something like that. If I do get enough interest, then I am going to create it. But I'll be doing it after my cruise, all right? I'm not going to work on it while I'm on holiday. So Karen said, I know everyone's different, but I've been on the whole food for 4 weeks and still don't feel any different. Karen, you've got to give it more than 4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks is a very short period of time. So your body, I don't know where your body's at the moment, but your body likely needs to, well, yeah, your body needs to go through some adjustment. It needs to go through some healing process. So you need to give it some time. All right. And like I said, get in contact with one of those doctors if you think it's a medical thing that is going on. There could be some underlying medical reasons why you've been feeling a little bit off. But in terms of when it comes to healing your body, healing takes time. Sometimes it takes months. If your body is in a state of sickness, so you need to allow your body. We didn't get sick overnight, so we can't expect the body to heal overnight. Okay, now I just lost my notes. Oh, shivers. So yes, in terms of that program, I am looking to create that program if there is enough interest, if people want to, are interested in maybe losing the last 10 pounds or losing the first 10 pounds or so, drop me that into the comments. I see Sandy is interested. This is awesome. And I will start working on something like that when I come back from my cruise. So that's it for today, folks. If you've got any more questions, Mona, thank you for number 5. So important for me to remember. Just trying to get. Sorry, my notes closed down. I think number 5 was, yeah, allowing imperfection. Yeah, right. I remember the days. I thought I had to be perfect in order to achieve my goals, and what I realized is I don't. I wasn't perfect on this journey. I'll tell you that much. Even though I had a plan, and my goal was to really stick to that plan as much as possible. Wasn't perfect. And I still lost 9 pounds. So if I can do it, you can do it too. Yep. Even though I wasn't going to drink for 8 weeks, I'll let you know I had some drinks. But what I did is I made sure that I was well and truly hydrated, that I wasn't allowing those drinks to get on top of me, and I wasn't allowing them to throw me off my workouts, so that I was still staying focused and on track. And yeah, and that's what helped me keep going forward. Because remember, particularly if you're trying to change your lifestyle, if you're trying to achieve this for the long-term journey, we don't want perfection. We're never going to be perfect for the rest of our lives. It's just not possible. So how can we allow imperfection and allow ourselves to, most of the time, stay on track with our goals and our dreams and the things that we say we're going to do? All right, folks, it was wonderful seeing you all, and seeing you all here today. Thank you for your questions and your contribution. It's so nice doing this when I can actually interact with you so much more. So I'm going to say goodbye to you first, Instagram. And don't forget, go to the link in my bio. There you will find links to my YouTube channel, links to my Facebook group if you want to come and be part of that community, links to my free guides like my whole food plant-based guide, my weight loss guide, or my recipes. All right, so go to that link, you'll find all of the information there, or drop me any more comments below if you've got any more questions, if you might happen to be watching this on replay. All right, good to see you, and ciao for now. There we go. All right, share. Okay. And to all of you over there in Facebook, going to sign off to you now as well. Got these little bugs flying over here at the moment. Just making sure there's no more comments in here. Thank you for turning up too, Angela. It was really good to see you. And I will catch you all. Probably won't be doing any more lives until I'm back from my trip, which will be after Easter. So ciao for now. Okay.